Hello everyone and welcome back to another day of the ICBA. We are up against Johnny with the Oregon Ducklets and a really cool team full of surprises, one of them being Mega Diancie. So we prepped for him in a cool way, so this should be an interesting battle. So I'm fully expecting this Mega Diancie to stay into Mega Ball and try and send me back or take away my spikes and also potentially protect to prevent itself from the final gambit, which I did go for. So that is exactly what happens, and there we see the protect, but that means my Axel survives to final gambit at different threads. And then he switches out into a Tangrowth. I predict the switch out, expecting the final gambit. And I go for a U-turn, gaining a little bit of momentum for myself. So Axelgar comes back to our side. Nidoking comes in, and with it being faster, special based, the Tangrowth is really threatened here. And so in comes this Skarmory. So I ran some calcs. Ice Beam was or should be a 2-hit KO on this Skarmory, and that doesn't look like 2-hit KO damage, but it does seem like I got a very low roll, and then the next Ice Beam definitely takes him out. Mamoswine comes in to threaten my Nidoking. I fully expect the Earthquake here, so I had a couple of options, but I figured Suicune was my sturdiest attacker. Yeah, Suicune was my sturdiest attacker that could take this Earthquake. After seeing the damage that this thing does, we do find out that it is Choice Banded because it dealt almost 50% to my fully EV'd in defense and HP Suicune. And then I don't expect the Mamoswine to stay in. I do go out into Axelgar to try and take this Earthquake, and he does in fact switch out to avoid the Scald and goes out into Slowking. So this is where things start to get a little tricky. I feel like I was in a really good spot, so I go for my spikes, not expecting the Mega Diancie to come back in, and we see a lack of by the Slowking, expecting the U-turn. So the turn of spikes is really potentially good. I do go for the U-turn now, dealing almost 50% thanks to a critical hit from my Axelgar, so really putting in the work, and I go out into my Metagross. Now, I'm hoping Metagross can wall this thing, but it does go for a setup and a Calm Mind. And this is the beginning of my demise, unfortunately. I definitely underestimated Slowking, and I used the opportunity to set up a Stealth Rock. I know Metagross is not going to be able to damage the Slowking too much because of Slack Up and because of its overall bulk. Yeah, and my Metagross is not super offensive either. So I go for an Earthquake to test the waters. Slowking is only a +1/+1, and that seems like 25-ish%. So I'm definitely not gonna have a lot of time to threaten this Slowking. What I should have done after setting up Stealth Rocks was go out into my Circuitry to threaten the Slowking, but being the stubborn person that I am, I keep going for Earthquakes, keep trying to like get a crit, threaten this Slowking. Now he does go for another Calm Mind. I know the Slack Off is coming up next turn, so this is where I make the costliest mistake of the battle. I switch out my Metagross, I bring in my Axelgar, assuming that final gambit would KO the Slacking after the Slack Off because of the small residual amount of damage. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. What I should have done was either go for a knockoff or go for a U-turn, because I am physical based. And Final Gambit does in fact deal 155 damage, but does not get anywhere close to getting the Slowking, which just slacks off again. So prime opportunity for me to bring in my Circuitry, but instead I decide to bring in my Blaziken here, which does have knockoff, doesn't have Thunder Punch, and we haven't seen any leftovers recovery on the Slowking, so I fully expected to have like a Wacken Berry. I didn't think he would be carrying a Colbur Berry, so I go very comfortably for a knockoff, and only to find out that he does in fact have the Colbert Berry. Now, he goes for another slack off, interestingly enough, rather than a skull to knock out my plays again. So what I should have done was maybe predict this and go for a sword stance. Probably would not have mattered in the overall scheme of things. So I decided to switch out rather than just keep damaging the Slow King into my Suicune to play a war of Skulls and Calm Minds, but because Slowking is Psychic type and can learn Psyshock, I am in a lot of trouble here. Unfortunately I didn't realize how much trouble I was in. I figured, okay, this is gonna be similar to last week. We're just gonna do a Calm Mind war, which Suicune might or might not be able to win because my opponent's already at +3 and I am at +0 so far. And he recognizes this and he decides to go for the Calm Mind, being confident in the fact that Psyshock can go through my Suicune. Yeah. So, yeah, we go for a Sleep Dog. We're gonna go for the Skull here, dealing some amount of damage, and I'm gonna speed this up just a little bit so that how do I speed this up? Oops. Okay, that's my bad, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, we're back. And I'm just trying to speed this up. Okay, I don't know how to speed it up. I thought I knew, but apparently I don't. So we're in the Sleep Talk war. We are, in the Sleep Talk plus Calm Mind war for me, and Slack Off plus Calm Mind for him. He hasn't revealed Psyshock yet, he's just going up to +6/+6, and he's poised to just sweep with Slowking. Now, if I had just not been stubborn, if I had brought in my circuitry way earlier to check the Slowking, threaten with a Thunderbolt, I didn't even need to set up. All I needed to do was click Thunderbolt, and then if Mammoth comes in, then we deal with it somehow, or we make a prediction and then we go for a Grass Knot, which also hits the Slowking pretty hard. I could have set up with my circuitry's C move. There were so many things I could have done, but I didn't. I chose to go for the Calm Mind setup. I gave my opponent all the time in the world to set up with Calm Mind, and then Psyshock is just going to do us in here. There's the first Psyshock, and at this point I'm face palming because I know Psyshock hits on the defense, so no matter how much special defense I had on my Suicune, that was always going to be a KO. So I go for a Desperate Scald, which ends up even kind of hurting me. I do get the burn, which means now my circuitry can't see Hypnosis, the Slowking, to put it to sleep. So that was also really bad. So yeah, really bad decision making on my part, not recognizing that Slowking was going to be a big threat, and the Psyshock would simply make it so that my Suicune would not be able to deal with it. So at this point, no Pokemon of mine can deal with Slowking. My only hope is a Thunderbolt critical hit, which I did try to go for the previous turn. Then I go for a Tail Glow, which makes no sense either. Like, at this point I've just thrown the towel and I've accepted my fate to the Slowking, and the fact that Slowking is just gonna, I was gonna say it's gonna take all 5 prize cards or all 6 prize cards. That's TCG Tug. Slowking is just gonna KO every single Pokemon of mine at this point. So yeah, my attacks are literally doing 0 damage. Slowking can't just sweep through my team at this point, so my biggest mistake was just not checking the Slowking earlier with circuitry. I wanted to save circuitry so much for the late game sweep that I let my opponent take himself to a point where the circuitry did not matter. And then the burn completely removed any chance of me putting the Slowking to sleep and getting enough sleep turns in order for me to Tail Glow twice and then deal with the Slowking and then sweep his team. So even the Scald was a bad play in hindsight, right? So yeah, we do see the slack off. Once again, I had an opportunity to potentially sword stance. And if I had sword stance on that slack off, Blaziken could have actually taken down the Slowking based on the damage that knockoff just dealt. So yeah, some bad reads on my part, bad play for sure. 1 week we've played really good, then the next we've played really bad. We're 2-2 so far in this league. I know I probably spoiled the result of the battle quite a while ago. But since this is not live, there's not much I can say about that. So yeah, better prep for next week. We're on to week 5, so hopefully that will be better for us. The other league, the MPL, is almost over. There's 1 week left, so I'm hoping to snag that first win and take that experience and bring it to the ICBA and hopefully do much better. In the ICBA, we're not, like, we're in the middle of the pack right now. We're not at the top, but we're not at the bottom either. So we are trying to make the best out of that. The Slowking even avoids the meter mash to add insult to injury. We don't get swept 5-0, we get swept 4-0, I guess. But yeah, there's really nothing that I can do at this point. Naganadel comes in, it's going to get a kill for itself because it does have a very cool moveset. That shiny Naganadel actually looks pretty cool. If Fire Blast had missed, maybe we could have snagged another KO, but it doesn't, and that's where the battle ends. So good game to Johnny. Sorry about the late upload, guys. I'll definitely have our next battle up by Monday, and that's gonna be all from me. The CHELSEADRAs are still in this. We still have a long way to go in this league, so we're gonna give it our best for the next few weeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next Monday for our ICBA battle. Bye bye.